Episode 582 comes to you live on the 21st of August 21st of October 2022. Let me tell you an interesting story. Once upon a time, the dumb smartphone or the mobile phone or the cell phone were only used for calls and texts, which means you could make a call to someone and you could send a message to someone. There were no applications, no unnecessary permissions to be given, no fear of privacy, and since individuals love this term, there was a bit of nostalgia which exists now that those phones were so good. The flip phones, or what one calls the feature phones, it was just simple. No camera, no fear of privacy being loosened, no fear of arguments with the phone company, the manufacturer of the phone itself, like whether it's iPhone or Android or whatever be the operating system, there was no fear of anything. And then we could even use it to send messages, that is just words, and that was enough for a long time. But the human greed is never satisfied, they always want more. So as internet became an important part of our lives along with the dumb smartphones, so much that it became even important than oxygen itself. We all know about the masquerading pollution issues that exist and all the conversation around pollution that exists, and we all know where this pollution came from. But even then, despite having only calls and messages, even then the mobile phone was seen as a disruptor, because imagine you are sitting with someone in a room and you're not conversing with them, but they are wheeling away on their phone, texting individuals, others. You are texting somebody else. And that was before there was internet browser. That was happening then also. And the interesting thing is that even then one could find out scores. I was doing that. Once upon a time, for me, the way to find out the score was to listen on the radio, which was a separate Walkman I would use, or any such device, a radio kind of device. Then the mobile phones had a special message you could send to find out the score. It took some time, but the score used to be accurate. But as I said, the human greed isn't enough. They wanted more. So we graduated to emails, which were slowly getting into the groove into the mid 90s, and everyone thought this would be the best thing that has happened to humanity. Well, it hasn't. Right now, we think emails are now an outdated feature. Back then, 25-30 years ago, emails were a big deal. Why? Because you could send long messages, formal messages, electronic letters to someone, and they would reach in minutes. SMS would also reach in minutes, but you could not send photos and videos and all kinds of attachments here. So emails began to take a shape and form which was important for human communication back then. Right now, we may consider emails something which takes a lot of effort, and people have an alternative method. We'll come to that, but emails were an important part. Once again, it was a disruptor. It was an alternative to physical letters, because soon people were hesitant to give their addresses, but they were not having any problem giving one their email addresses, which was better, because even if you could hack them, what was the worst thing you could do? But giving your home address, and there were people then and there are people now who don't have permanent addresses, who move from one city to another for various reasons. So it was quick and it was personal, and it replaced the fax. I still think fax is much more efficient, but emails replace the fax. there became a more sophisticated version of the SMS. In fax, you could not send a video, but in email, you can attach a video. In fax, if that individual is not there, if the fax machine is off, or sometimes the phone connection is disconnected or something happens, the message may not come through. But in an email, even if you're not opening your mobile phone or your computer or any device that you use, the email will reach you, and the next time you open your mobile phone email application or your computer's email application, it will be notified over there. So it became a more efficient form of fax and an upgraded version of SMS. But it wasn't enough. Humans still found it to be a little hardworking. Emails are a lot of work. You have to send it in a proper format. You should know the email address of that particular individual. Then you have to sit on a computer to properly type the message. It's difficult to type it on your mobile phones or any other smaller device. Though we all love the dumb smartphone, but when it comes to email, I will prefer it to be typed on the computer. But that's a debate which people can engage in for a long time. Now, over the past 1 year since the pseudo virus came into picture, emails became a form of a headache. Too many emails coming in my inbox. How do I filter those? Then, for the last 12 years, we started looking at another, maybe even a more minuscule version of the email, which people have started loving. Why? Because they just have. I don't know why. I don't, but why do individuals love a certain application, a certain piece of technology? One doesn't know. Technology continues to evolve day by day, year by year. For us, the landline seems like an obsolete object. I don't see it like that. The email seems like an outdated way of communication. Not for me. Right now, the most loved yet disgusting form of communication is the messengers, and we all know which messengers. It adds more meaning to privacy. We all know the issues with privacy with this particular application, so there is not much to talk about. But here also one can send videos, one can send images, one can send photos. Of course, just like emails, you can send it on personal also and in a group also. But this is loved more than an email because email seems very formal. This is semi-formal, sometimes even casual form of communication. And then it's easier because you open your phone. Email may or may not work with some networks. This thing will work whether you have two bars, whether there is limited mobile network or you have limited mobile data. This will somehow work. That's why it's the best. And this is easier to form because this is now a more sophisticated version of the SMS. As I said, emails were. Now this is a more sophisticated version. So I don't agree, but it's been agreed by millions. So we have to go with that rhetoric. You type a message, you send a photo, and then when that person replies, they will reply immediately and everybody will be happy. But let's understand something. We've had over the years a very strange relationship with the dumb smartphone. We love it because it's a form of faster communication. We somehow also dislike it. Why? Because we think that younger generation, what does younger generation mean? I don't know. They spend too much time on this. They don't engage in analog activities. They're playing games on this. They're not playing cerebral usage of the dumb smartphone and its various applications. And this debate doesn't end. On one hand, we encourage people to use this so that the frequency of mobile data penetration increases, and we see this as an educative device. On the other hand, it's completely opposite. we say that, as I've read in various magazine, newspapers, and other places, that during the imaginary virus phase, children, students spent so much time on this that they forgot that there was something called outdoor activity. You could not go out, but you forgot that there was an outdoor activity, that when you could go out, you were not going out. And we do not leave our homes without this dumb smartphone. But let's understand this. Faster internet speed lowers us, as things often have. We see it as a reliant device of new information. We just need to press one button and we'll be able to tell what is happening. We can download as many applications as we want, and then we regret that those applications somehow do something to our private data. When you give your data first and then you cry wolf. But that's human nature. We always do that, and we have been doing that for so long that it's nothing new. But imagine, it's a dumb smartphone. Imagine if you remove the SIM card from it, you don't connect it to any broadband, any internet service, then what is this particular device? It's nothing more than a metallic junk. And there's conversations around electronic waste. Let me hover on the term electronic waste. We are ourselves responsible for electronic waste. We say with pride that I changed my phone this year. Then where does the old phone go? After we have, let's say, removed all data from it, we don't remove it. We are never able to remove it. But whatever we are able to remove, it goes into our drawers, or it goes into some, or we sell it, and that the person who buys it also dumps it somewhere. So the junk keeps on adding. So you buy a new phone because of new technology. The old phone becomes part of older technology, because if you don't buy a new device, then you are considered a dinosaur and whatnot, whatever terms are being used nowadays. Then some groups who have fabrication for the love of environment say that it's this electronic waste adds to the environment, it pollutes the environment. I'm sure the very individual who's talking about this must be buying a new phone, because, well, we all know how that works. So I don't buy into their ridiculous charade of being concerned for the environment. That never works. And that's the beauty of this entire thing. It's difficult to say who will get the upper hand in this particular situation. And then pseudo media has become an important part of our lives. We cannot do without it. I may do without it. I don't even log into my pseudo media. I only have face whatever on my mobile, on my computer, not even in my mobile. But I don't log in regularly, and I don't think I miss anything, because it's the same outdated, boring information, just advertisements, which is fine. People can advertise whatever they want, and then people trying to show off by putting photos of what they are doing. Well, instead of that, if you're taking photos of something, instead of putting it on this, create an album, make it into a book and sell it. You will have more success instead of putting over there, because it can be misused. Somebody can easily download it. So that's why I don't put anything over there, because it can be misused. Pseudo media, misused media, and we all know what the story is around. And why the story around this thing called metallic junk is ever evolving and revolving. What has happened today is that the final 12 teams of the World Cup have been decided. And what does that mean? It means one team wins and the 11 teams will do the chances. So which are the 12 teams? First, let's see what will be India's schedule. So these are the 5 matches that India will play, which means Netherlands and Zimbabwe qualify for Group 2, and Scotland are disqualified, West Indies are disqualified. On the other hand, Sri Lanka and Ireland qualify for Group 1. So those are the 4 teams that were added tonight, and the tournament starts from tomorrow. There's a fear of rain, but then I already said that Australia and Wayne, they have a very interesting relationship. So India has teams like Netherlands and Zimbabwe, which is going to be very interesting. How does India face teams like Netherlands and Zimbabwe? Because I think all the 5 matches are going to be tough matches, and you cannot say just because it's Netherlands we can be very casual about it. I don't think any of the 5 matches are going to be casual. Bangladesh can give a tough fight. Zimbabwe has been a good team. They have beaten India before in World Cup. So none of these 5 matches can be taken lightly. We start with the obvious team. The first match, it's not surprising that the first match is against a certain country with whom we have strange relations. We're not going into that. Fear of rain is looming, and the weather forecast keeps fluctuating. So till 23rd comes, it's difficult to say what will happen. The second match is versus Netherlands. They have performed well in the qualifiers or round one, as the International Cricket Board would want to call it. So they had to go through a lot of loopholes to reach here. They don't play regularly, and I think cricket governing bodies are more generous. Netherlands made it to a World Cup despite them not playing regularly, just as irregularly as India plays in the Football World Cup. But then we don't have 106 teams in the Football World Cup. We have only 20 teams, and out of which 12 teams have qualified, and 8 teams were be losing their chances. West Indies did not qualify. Imagine that. Sri Lanka just about qualified. So you have to look at those minor things. The third match versus South Africa. Now the theory is that it's at Perth. The whole theory about bouncing Perth and fast bowlers bowling at over 150 kilometers per hour. How will the Indian team cope up with the bounce? It's as if they're going there for the first time. It's as if we have never faced South Africa or any other team in any other country. So let's not fall for such debates, because it doesn't work. What will happen, I do not know. You will know on your own. So let's just be in that mode. Then the fourth match is against Bangladesh. Another good team, so let's not take them lightly as well. They can give you a run for the money. They have been giving in each and every World Cup we have faced them. So let's keep it over there that all the 5 teams, and in the final one versus Zimbabwe, by this time it will be clear if India makes it to the semi-finals or not. For which, to make it to the semi-finals, you have to win at least 3 out of the 5 matches, which means we cannot afford to be lackluster. We cannot say that okay, we lose our first match, we can make it up by winning the next 3. It doesn't work like that. It didn't work last year. So let's not get into that mode. But as I said, cricket is more generous. Zimbabwe, Netherlands, if they were playing football, they would have never made it the way the football qualifiers are shaped. I'll talk about that on a later date. But Ireland, Netherlands, Scotland, Namibia, they at least played the qualifiers. India is not even getting a chance to complete their qualifiers before the World Cup. I don't even know how the qualifiers are being played. So I'm just baffled by the whole qualification situation, and there's nothing one can do about it. So as I said, cricket is more generous, and let's not go with the excuse that there are lesser teams in cricket. That cannot be an excuse. That cannot be saying that India cannot be a strong football team. So who knows? India could be a strong football team, but they review their chances. The governing body doesn't give them that many opportunities. At least Netherlands will get to play India. They'll see we play teams like India and Zimbabwe and West Indies and Sri Lanka, and we came out wiser. They may or may not win, but they have played top teams. Zimbabwe will say we deserve this because we cannot be called a weak team. We have been struggling, but we are a good team. We have given teams a run for the money in the World Cups before, and we can do the same in the World Cups to follow. episode 583 will be live on the 24th of October 2022.